Welcome back to Trash Panda Off-Road. Today we're going to try to get that transmission into that rig. If you guys are new to the channel, and if you're old to the channel or a fan of the channel already, quick reminder, this is the Trash Panda. This is my 94 Geo Tracker. It is running 35-inch tires, still on the factory IFS, just a 2-inch spacer lift and a 2-inch body lift. However, it's got the automatic 3-speed in it, and guys who are into these rigs, you all know, and gals, that 3-speed automatic that's in these first gens is junk. So this one is starting to go out. If you've seen the last couple of videos of us out wheeling, been a couple of times on hill climbs and stuff like that, it just stopped working. So we're going to take that transmission out, put this transmission in. Also, I have a set of transfer case gears that I'm going to put into the transfer case that's in there, because this, I believe, is an 89, and the 89 transfer case is too thick in one section, the section you have to grind out in order to put the gears in. So I don't think that transfer case will work. So I believe I have to separate these and the one in there. But first thing we're going to do is get this one started by taking apart all this stuff inside the interior here and trying to squeeze that out from in between these nice seats. Now that I've gotten this far, I really don't want to do this, but it's got to be done. So that transmission going into here. I did not have to unhook that stuff, but I will have to remove the extension. If anybody asks, that's how I extend them after I put the body lift in. It's a piece of pipe bolted into a longer piece of pipe that makes a sleeve. Sleeves over the handle for the transfer case. That's how I do it. So, don't have to unhook any of that other stuff because it all hooks to the side of the transmission with a wire. So, unfortunately, because this is the trail rig, it's filthy under here, and I'm going to get a lot of goop in my eyes. So I'm going to wear some safety glasses, and guess we're just going to crank into it. We'll start by unbolting the front drive line, then we'll unbolt the rear drive line, then we'll unbolt the starter and all the pieces up there. Probably have to unbolt that exhaust right there, take it out of the way. So a lot of unbolting to do, and it's not going to be a lot of fun because the ground's still wet and the truck is still muddy or dirty. So only got to spend about 2 hours on this thing yesterday. You guys follow the channel, you know I only spend about 2.5 to 3 hours a day working on stuff until the wife gets home from work. Then I go in and help cook dinner and that kind of stuff. So yesterday we did both drive lines, just got them up and out of the way. Started looking at stuff. Should have started cleaning these holes out. So then we also did the starter, because that connects through the transmission. So we got the starter pulled on that yesterday. There is no room in there. So what I've always done with to get starter bolts out is I use a good sized extension, and you can actually run it through right here. You got to guide it with both hands, but then you can run it through. It fits all the way through there. Just put a regular old box wrench on the other end. So today's dilemma that I'm looking at is I have to take the bolts out of the flex plate for the torque converter, and that's a very difficult job by yourself. The second part of it that's going to suck is I have the electric fan on there, which means not a whole lot of room in there. So I'm pretty sure I could still get a socket in there. Maybe. If I tilt it like this, I don't know, we'll see. So that's the plan for today, is unhook the torque converter from the flex plate. I think it's 4, maybe 6 bolts. Gosh, I haven't been in there in a while. Oh wait, you know what? Oh no, that's not, yeah, that would work. I was gonna say I have the motor that came out of the Overland build. Yeah, can't tell because it doesn't have the same stuff. It's a 5-speed car. There's not a lot of times when I'm working on something that I really wish I had somebody out to help me out here. This is definitely one of those times. So in order to get to the bolts on the torque converter, I use this long extension and go right through here, and you can see, maybe you can, maybe you cannot, the socket that I have sitting on there. But unfortunately, to get to that socket, I have to get to the bolt that the socket is on, I have to slowly but surely readjust the engine. And so it's just a little itty bitty oof, and then I got to go back and check it out again. So that might have been too far. Might have been the wrong way too. I'll have to take a look. Yeah, I need to go the other way. So the struggle continues. Transmission is out and in the shop. It's supposed to rain tomorrow and the next day, so I really was hoping I can get that thing out today. And I did. And this fluid is nasty dark brown. And it smells really bad, like burnt. And this fluid in the good one, much better orangish. So we're going to have to switch over some connections, because this one here that came out of the 95, it's got these two that go into this one, whereas this one here, oh yeah, it looks like it has those two that go into that one, but it's all beat up. But then on the side here, this thing here splits out into two, and on this one here, it splits out into one. So I think maybe I can take this whole mechanism and switch it between them. Supposedly they're all the same, junky 3-speeds out of the 2-door first generations. So we're gonna take some of the stuff off of this one, put it onto this one, take the 2 transfer cases off, verify. That one should be big enough to put gears in. That one's an 89, so it should not be able to put the gears in, but I just want to verify it. And then I'm going to use that transfer case with that transmission with the gearing in it. Yesterday did not go as planned. I did get it back together, got all the electronics switched over, so is that it went from 1 to 2 here on the electronics. That was just simply 2 bolts here, swapping that over with the other piece on the old transmission. Got it bolted back together, got everything back in, all clipped up, ready to go. Got it under there, got it up, which was no small feat considering my transmission jack is still being borrowed. And then I found out that I didn't have the torque converter in all the way. That was very unfortunate, because that meant I had to remove the whole thing, take it all back out again, bring it back over here, and reset the torque converter. Now it is in all the way. The reason I know the difference is before I could put my hand here. Now I cannot put my hand back there. So it's gotten back even further than it was previously, and it's also even with this hole here. See? So now we're going to throw it on the ground, push it back under there, use some ratchet straps with this rope to jack it up, with this piece of wood run across, and just until we can get it under there with the jack under there to lift it the rest of the way. Well, that didn't work. It worked just fine the last 2 times, but apparently third time was not the charm. I just broke that, what is that, 2x4 basically. That's awesome. I know I have a piece of pipe around here somewhere that's close to that length. If not, I have a piece of pipe that's way longer than that. This is frustrating. The worst part is I have a transmission jack. I just let somebody borrow it. Like 6 months ago. Good news, bad news. Good news, found that piece of pipe. Bad news, it's starting to rain like crazy. This is going to be awesome. Now it's going to be slippery, wet, heavy, cold maybe. Definitely getting wet. I have this really nice shop that's not deep enough. Got a Jeep sitting there. Got the El Camino over there. So hopefully someday we'll build further out. But for now, I'm going to work in the rain. This is how we did it. Just so, use the pipe, use a ratchet strap, tied a rope around the top 2 bolt holes, jacked it up with the ratchet strap until I could get the jack under it, Now the jack's going to use the jack to do all the work. And now I'll get under there and start hooking things back up and jacking and hooking it back up and jacking. And hopefully through all that, the torque converter stays seated and we'll get this thing back together. Transmission's up. It's in. We're starting to bolt things back together again. Squirm under here. Show you. There's the torque converter. And the way I do this, you can get it by hand. Move this around, get that one in there by hand. And then what you're going to have to do, this light sit up there, because even though you can get to it with your hands, it's still stuck behind the oil pan. So you got to get this thing moved to a point where you can get the bolt in this little section right here next to the oil pan. So I usually just use a screwdriver for that. Let's see, this thing will sit right here, but you poke a screwdriver in there, right there, and slowly move it to where you can get it with the, so you can set a socket right here along the oil pan and on the bolt. Test run number 1, epic failure. Sorry I didn't get a lot of video. I'm rushing. It's Saturday morning, Memorial Day weekend. Everybody's already out in the woods. I'm trying to get out there and join them, but we're having difficulties here. Everything's back together. It's good. It runs. It moves down the road. Did not shift out of first. Blew a huge white cloud of smoke, so bad that when I turned around, I actually drove back through the white smoke. So what I'm hoping and what I think is I didn't hook up the vacuum advance. So right here, this thing goes into that right there, comes up here, right here. On the transmission that's in there, when I put it back in, I do not recall putting something on there. So we're going to see if we can find it in there and find the hose that it goes to and plug it in, and then we'll try again. Okay, there's the hose right there. Looks like I have that all figured out. And now we got to load the camper onto the truck, unload the last tracker off the trailer. I got to bolt the bumper or fender together on the trailer because my welder gave up on me the other day. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. Subscribe to the channel, comments down below, follow along. Trash Panda Offroad on the Instagram.